with differentiation. Now, some of you, they just give you differentiation, they will ask you, differentiate this, differentiate this, differentiate this. You have issue because you don't know the basic knowledge of differentiation. Now, let's go. If you are asked to differentiate, there are some things you have to know. So, follow me. If you can truly follow me to the end of this video, then you cannot have any issue with differentiation. So, let's go. Now, when you check, if they ask you, I want to go to case 1 first. Under differentiation, case 1. If they ask you, if they give you something like this, y is equals to, we have x raised power 5. Then they can ask you that what is the y, the x. That is, you have to differentiate this y with respect to x. So differentiation says you are going to multiply this power with the coefficient, then now subtract 1 from the power. Now let's go. You multiply, what's the power here? That's 5. So, and the coefficient here is what? Is 1. So 5 times 1 is 5. Then x raised power 5 minus 1 will give us what? Will give us 4. That is the basic way for differentiation. Let's go again. Now, if you have y to be equal to x, here, let me put 4 here. Then x, let's put 6 here. Then you have y to be equal to 4x raised power 6. They will now ask you that what is the y, the x. Now, the y, the x here will now be 6 times 4, that's 24. And x raised power 6 minus 1, that's what? That's 5. So, differentiation says that you are going to multiply the power with the coefficient. They now subtract 1 from the power. Multiply the power with the coefficient that we have here, which is give us 5. Then subtract 1 from the power, which will give us 4. Multiply the power with the coefficient here to give us 24. Then subtract 1 from this power, which will give us 5. This is the basic way for differentiation. Now, everybody lets us go. Since you've gotten this, we'll now proceed. Differentiation is not mainly the y, the x. This is where many of us miss it. Sometimes you may be given v to be equal to, let's say u, or let me have 3u raised power 8. 3u raised power 8. 3u raised power 8. Now, this is where you should know that differentiation is not just about what's they call it, the y, the x. In this case now, in this case of this question, they cannot ask you the y, the x. Are we all together? They can only say what is the v, the what, the u. If they ask the y, the x in this type of question, it is wrong. Why? Because there's no y here, there's no u here. So the y, the x is just you differentiating y with respect to x. Differentiate y with respect to x. So in this case now, we have v with respect to u. So we cannot say the y, the x here. So the v, the u now will now be the same method that we use here is the same thing we are going to use. Now that'll be 8 times 3. That'll be 24. Then u raised power 8 minus 1. That's what? That's 7. That's 7. That's all. But now we now have exemption. Exemption. What are the exemption of this law? Now case 2 now. Case 2. The case 2, I call it addition or subtraction rule. Addition or subtraction rule. When we say addition or subtraction rule, in this case, whereby you can have y to be equal to, let's say you have 4x raised power, let's say 5, plus 2v raised power, let me say 10. Let's put it like this. Now in this case, they can ask you to find the y, the x. That is, differentiate y with respect to x. And they can also tell you the y, the v. What does that mean? That differentiate y with respect to v. So they can give you any of these questions. They can say the y, the x. They can say the y, the v. So either way, you are good to go. Now let's solve the first question, the y, the x. Don't forget that your target is x. So the y, the x, our target is x. There's nothing concerned with this v. So focus on your target, which is x. So let's go with the normal way we use here. So the normal way is that this x, so the power multiplied by the coefficient, then subtract 1 from the power. So what's the power here, which is 5? So 5 times 4, that's 20. Then x raised power 5 minus 1, that's what? 4. That's it. That is the y, the x. But don't forget, in this case, case 2, because the sign between this x and v is addition. I did not include this v. Please take note. I did not include this v because the sign between x and v is what? Is addition. Now let's go for the y dv. Now the y dv in this case, now my target is v, not x. So I'll focus on v, not x. So I will not put my concentration on x, I'll put it on v because the question is the y dv. So let's go to the v. The v will now be 10 times 2, that's what? That's 20. The v raised power 10 minus 1, that's what? That's 9. So this is the answer to the y dx and the y dv. Now let's go to case 3. Case 3 now. Case 3, or before I go to case 3, let me do subtraction method. Now the subtraction, let's say you have v to be equal to 2x raised power, let me say 5, the minus 6w raised power, let's say 3. Now in this case, they can ask you that what is the v, the x, and they can ask you that what is the v, the w. And let's go. Don't forget, I said they can ask you that what is the v, the x, and they can also ask you that what is the v, the w. That means these are the alphabet we have in the question. Then the v, the x, our concern is x. Don't forget, as I said here. So let's focus on the x, which will be 5 times 2, that's what? That's 10. Then x is super 5 minus 1 is what? Is 4. So you are less concerned about what? About this. You are less concerned about this. So because this is w, there is no x here. So let's go for the v, the w. The v, the w, our concern is w, not x. So let's go to the w. W here is, the power is 3. So 3 times minus 6, you not neglect this negative because it's part of it. So this minus belongs to this. So 3 times, because this one does not have minus because the sign here is what? It's plus. So 3 times minus 6 is minus 18. Then w raised power 3 minus 1, that's what? That's 2. Can you see? So this is the way to go with when the sign between the two alphabets is addition or what? Or subtraction. Now let us now go if the sign is multiplication or what? Or division. If it is multiplication or division, how can we conquer this? If it is multiplication or division, how can we conquer this? Now let's go. The same example I use here is what I will be using here. Now, if you have y to be equal to 4x raised power 5 v raised power 10, look at this. The sign between this x and v is multiplication. So they can also ask you that what is the y, the x, and what is the y, the what, the v. Now you have to like, comment, and share this video for other people to see. Please help us and to like this channel so that it can prompt more for other people to see. Please, we need your help very well, and comment so that people can definitely what, engage more. Comment anything, give us the kudos so that we can put more effort in more videos to come, so that we can help you guys in the words in the CBT or the exam you have before you. Now let's go. The y, the x for this one. The y, the x, your target is still x. Don't forget what we started with, our target. So because the question is the y, the x, so our target is still what? X. To differentiate y with respect to x, that's the meaning. So your target is x. So let's go with that. That will be 5 times 4, that's 20. And x raised power 5 minus 1 is what? Is 4. Now after you have differentiated the x, you have to include that v, but you are not going to differentiate it. That is now the difference between when the sign is multiplication and when the sign is what? Is addition or subtraction here. You know that when you differentiated it, between them is what? Is addition. We only focus on our target, would not include what? V. And when we are differentiating v the other time, would not include x as well. But in this case, after you have differentiated the x, then you are going to include v, but you not differentiate that v. Now let's go with the y dv. Now the y dv, it means our target is v. So let's go with the v. That will be 10 here times, these 4 belong to both x and v. That's coefficient for you. So 10 times 4, that's 40. Then v raised power 10 minus 1, what's the answer? That's 9. Now we are done with the differentiation of the v, but you have to include x. And what the x we have here is x raised power what? 5, without differentiating it. And this is the law of what? Of multiplication and what? And division. Now let's go with another example. If you have v to be equal to 2x raised power 5 w raised power 3. Now if you want to differentiate this, if they ask that what is the v, the x, And what is the V? The what? The W. Let's go. The V, the X. Our target is X. Now the 5 times 2, that's 10. Then X is per 5 minus 1, 4. But you have to include W without differentiating it, because the sum between them is what? Is multiplication. Now the V, the W. Our target now is W. That will now be 3 times 2, that's 6. Then W raised per 3 minus 1, that's 2. After we are done with differentiation of W, we have to include X without what? Without differentiating it. So this is the basic knowledge of differentiation. So follow us for more. This is a short lesson by me, popularly known as General David. They also call me the shortcut man or the shortcut and calculator man. So please like, follow, and share for other people to know. You are going to see more of calculator and shortcut on this channel. Something whereby when you see the question, you just know the answer as soon as possible. Thank you. God bless you.